What if the part of you that understands you best isn't human at all? In front of you are four animal spirits. You don't need to analyze them. Don't think, don't compare. Simply notice which one pulls at you, which gaze you feel, which presence you can't ignore. That pull is not random, it is psychological. In this video, you're not just watching, you're participating in a Jungian self-test. The animal spirit you feel most intensely drawn to reflects a deep structure of your psyche, a hidden truth about how you think, feel, protect yourself, and move through the world. According to Carl Jung's analytical psychology, the unconscious communicates through symbols. Animals, in particular, represent instinctual patterns, what Jung called archetypes. When you feel a sudden attraction to a symbol, it's not taste or coincidence. It's your unconscious recognizing itself. So take a moment. Look at the four spirits. Choose one. Not the one you like, but the one you feel. Then stay with me and listen carefully, because the animal you chose reveals who you truly are beneath the mask. If you were drawn to spirit number 1, the wolf, you carry a psyche shaped by intensity, loyalty, and a quiet inner fire that never truly sleeps. At your core, you are not someone who moves lightly through life. You move deeply. You feel more than you show, observe more than you say, and remember far longer than others expect. Psychologically, the wolf represents what Carl Jung would call a strong instinctual self paired with a guarded ego. You are born with a heightened sensitivity to your environment. You read moods, shifts in energy, unspoken tensions. This makes you appear calm and composed on the surface, but inside, your mind is constantly active, scanning, interpreting, preparing. In relationships, you are profoundly loyal, almost to a fault. When you choose someone, you choose them with your whole being, and betrayal doesn't just hurt you emotionally, it restructures your worldview. You don't love casually, and that's both your greatest strength and your deepest vulnerability. You may have noticed that you struggle with letting people get close quickly. Trust, for you, is earned slowly, through consistency and integrity, not words. Emotionally, you feel things in waves rather than sparks. Sadness can linger, anger simmers quietly, and love roots itself deeply. You often appear strong to others, the one who has it together, but few realize how much emotional weight you carry alone. This creates an inner conflict. Part of you longs for connection and understanding, while another part insists on self-reliance and emotional distance. In Jungian terms, this is the tension between your instinct to belong to the pack and your fear of losing autonomy or being wounded again. In work and purpose, you thrive in environments where independence, trust, and meaning coexist. You are not motivated purely by status or money. You need to feel that what you're doing aligns with your inner values. When forced into shallow, chaotic, or morally empty systems, you become restless, drained, or quietly rebellious. You work best when given space, respect, and a sense of shared mission. Leadership suits you, but not loud leadership. Yours is the type people follow because they feel safe around you, because you see the whole terrain while others see only what's in front of them. Your mindset is shaped by endurance. You understand hardship early in life, often feeling older than your age. This early exposure to struggle sharpens your intuition, but can also harden your heart if you're not careful. One of your shadow traits is emotional isolation. You may withdraw when overwhelmed, convincing yourself you're fine while slowly disconnecting from others. Another is self-sacrifice, staying loyal to people, roles, or situations long after they've stopped serving your growth, simply because you once gave your word. Yet your strengths are undeniable: resilience, depth, moral clarity, emotional intelligence, and an unshakable inner compass. When you integrate your shadow, when you allow yourself to need others without seeing it as weakness, you become psychologically whole. The wolf doesn't survive by strength alone. It survives by balance between instinct and connection. And that is your deepest lesson. You are not meant to walk life entirely alone, nor are you meant to dissolve yourself into others. You are meant to choose your pack wisely, protect what matters fiercely, and trust that your depth is not a burden. It is your power. If you were drawn to spirit number 2, the bear, your psyche is built around depth, endurance, and a powerful inner world that most people never fully see. You are not someone who rushes toward life. You inhabit it. There is weight to your presence, even when you are quiet. Psychologically, the bear represents what Carl Jung would describe as a grounded archetype of instinct, protection, and emotional containment. You feel deeply, but you do not express easily. From a young age, you likely learned to hold yourself together, to be the stable one, the strong one, the one others lean on. As a result, you developed emotional self-control that borders on emotional isolation. In relationships, you love through actions more than words. You protect, provide, endure, and stay. And when you commit, you do so with a seriousness that few people can match. But this also means you expect loyalty, respect, and emotional safety in return, even if you don't explicitly ask for it. When those needs go unmet, you don't explode, you withdraw. Emotionally, you experience life in slow, powerful currents rather than sharp reactions. Your anger builds quietly, your sadness sinks inward, and your joy is calm but profound. People may mistake you for emotionally distant or reserved, when in reality, you simply process emotions internally before sharing them. One of your greatest inner conflicts is between your instinct to protect yourself and others and your unspoken longing to be cared for in return. Jung would call this a struggle between your persona of strength and your shadow need for vulnerability. You often feel responsible for everyone, yet secretly resent being the one who is never allowed to fall apart. In work and purpose, you thrive in roles that require patience, reliability, and long-term vision. You are not built for chaos, instability, or constant emotional drama. You do your best work when you feel secure, respected, and trusted to move at your own pace. You may resist change at first, not because you lack adaptability, but because you need to understand where change is taking you before you commit your energy to it. Once you do, however, your persistence is unmatched. Your mindset is shaped by survival wisdom. You understand cycles, effort and rest, closeness and distance, action and retreat. Like the bear, you instinctively know when to engage and when to step back, though sometimes you retreat too far, using solitude as a shield rather than a sanctuary. This can lead to emotional numbness or a sense of being disconnected from life, even while functioning well on the surface. Your shadow traits include stubbornness, emotional suppression, and holding on to old wounds longer than necessary. You may replay past betrayals silently, convincing yourself you've moved on, while your body still remembers the impact. Yet your strengths are immense. Emotional stability, loyalty, wisdom, protective love, and a calming presence that makes others feel safe. When you integrate your shadow, when you allow yourself to express need, softness, and uncertainty, you become not just strong, but whole. The bear is not only a symbol of power, it is a symbol of inner authority. And your deepest psychological lesson is this: you do not lose strength by opening your heart, you reclaim it. You are not here merely to endure life, but to feel it, share it, and allow yourself the same care you so freely give to others. If you were drawn to spirit number 3, the Stag, your psyche is shaped by dignity, sensitivity, and a deep awareness of meaning that runs beneath everything you do. You are someone who feels life as a journey, not a competition. Psychologically, the Stag represents what Carl Jung would recognize as an archetype of noble consciousness, a mind that is instinctual yet reflective, strong yet gentle, proud yet deeply moral. You are driven not by domination, but by alignment. You need your actions, values, and identity to make sense together. From early on, you likely felt different. Not better, not worse, just other. You sense layers in people, symbols in events, and lessons hidden inside ordinary experiences. This gives you a natural philosophical or spiritual orientation, even if you don't consciously label it that way. In relationships, you love with depth and reverence. You don't attach quickly, but when you do, you bring sincerity, emotional presence, and a desire for mutual growth. You are drawn to partners who see your soul, not just your surface, and you feel deeply wounded when love becomes shallow, manipulative, or disrespectful. Emotionally, you are highly sensitive, though you may hide this behind calmness or elegance. You feel beauty intensely, but you also feel disappointment sharply. You are easily affected by harshness, cruelty, or emotional chaos, and prolonged exposure to such environments can drain you profoundly. One of your inner conflicts is between your need for peace and your need to stand tall. Like the Stag, you prefer harmony, but when your values are crossed, something ancient rises in you, a quiet but unmovable strength. Jung would say this reflects a tension between your conscious idealism and your shadow aggression. You don't enjoy conflict, yet you are capable of powerful resistance when necessary. In work and purpose, you thrive in roles that involve vision, guidance, creativity, or meaning. You are not fulfilled by mechanical routines or empty ambition. You need to feel that your work contributes to something larger: truth, growth, beauty, healing, or understanding. When trapped in environments that lack purpose, you may feel lost, anxious, or quietly depressed, even if everything appears fine externally. Your mindset is oriented toward growth through awareness. You reflect often, sometimes too much, replaying conversations, choices, and emotional moments in search of clarity. This introspection gives you wisdom, but it can also pull you into self-doubt or hesitation. You may struggle with decisiveness, especially when choices threaten your sense of integrity or risk hurting others. One of your shadow traits is avoidance, not out of weakness, but out of a deep dislike for ugliness, confrontation, and emotional brutality. Another is self-idealization, holding yourself to impossibly high standards, then feeling inadequate when you inevitably fall short. Yet your strengths are rare and powerful. Emotional intelligence, moral courage, intuitive insight, grace under pressure, and a presence that commands respect without demanding it. When you integrate your shadow, when you accept that strength can coexist with softness, and that conflict does not erase your purity, you step fully into your psychological power. The Stag is not fragile, it is refined strength. And your deepest lesson is this: you are not here to shrink yourself to maintain peace, nor to harden yourself to survive the world. You are here to embody a higher standard of being, to walk with head held high, heart open, and instincts aligned with meaning. When you do, others don't just follow you, they feel reminded of who they are meant to become. If you were drawn to spirit number 4, the Owl, your psyche is ruled by awareness, depth of perception, and a mind that never truly turns off. You are someone who sees what others miss, not because you try to, but because your consciousness is naturally tuned to patterns, contradictions, and hidden motives. Psychologically, the owl represents what Carl Jung would describe as an archetype of inner sight and shadow awareness. You are not afraid of darkness. In fact, you are drawn to it because you understand that truth often lives where others refuse to look. From an early age, you likely felt different, quieter, more observant, more inwardly complex. While others were focused on fitting in, you were watching, analyzing, storing information, learning how people really work beneath their masks. In relationships, this makes you both magnetic and intimidating. You don't connect superficially. You listen closely, notice inconsistencies, and sense emotional undercurrents before words are spoken. This gives you deep emotional intelligence, but it also makes trust difficult. You may struggle to fully relax with others because part of you is always aware, always reading, always guarding against deception or disappointment. Emotionally, you feel intensely, but privately. Your inner world is rich, layered, and sometimes heavy. You experience emotions as insight rather than impulse. Sadness teaches you, fear sharpens you, and pain transforms you. However, this depth can turn inward, becoming overthinking, rumination, or emotional withdrawal. One of your core inner conflicts is between your desire for truth and your desire for peace. You want to understand everything, but knowing too much can isolate you. Jung would say you are deeply familiar with the shadow, not only your own, but others as well. You see flaws clearly, in systems, relationships, authority, even yourself. And this can make you cynical if you're not careful. In work and purpose, you excel in fields that reward insight, strategy, analysis, creativity, or guidance. You are not built for blind obedience or meaningless repetition. You need autonomy, intellectual stimulation, and a sense that your mind is being used fully. You often perform best alone or in small, trusted groups where depth is valued over noise. Your mindset is reflective, strategic, and future-oriented. You think before you speak, plan before you act, and often see outcomes long before others do. This gives you wisdom, but it can also slow you down. You may hesitate, waiting for certainty in a world that rarely offers it. One of your shadow traits is emotional distance, using intellect as armor, staying above feelings instead of inside them. Another is isolation, convincing yourself you don't need others, when in reality, you simply haven't found those who can meet you at your depth. Yet your strengths are exceptional: clarity, intuition, psychological insight, honesty, and the courage to face uncomfortable truths. When you integrate your shadow, when you allow yourself to feel without analyzing and to connect without guarding, you become a guide, not just an observer. The owl is not merely wise, it is awake. And your deepest lesson is this: knowledge alone is not enough. You are not here only to see the truth, but to live it, share it, and allow yourself to be seen as clearly as you see the world. When you do, your presence doesn't just illuminate, it transforms. Now you understand something important. The animal spirit that called to you was never outside of you. It was a mirror. Each spirit represents a deep psychological pattern, an instinctive truth living in your unconscious, quietly shaping your choices, your relationships, and the way you move through life. When you become aware of that pattern, you don't just gain insight, you gain power. Carl Jung believed that true growth begins the moment the unconscious becomes conscious. And today, you've taken that step. If this analysis resonated with you, if you felt seen, understood, or even challenged, then this channel is for you. Here, we explore the hidden layers of the mind, the symbols that guide us, and the truths most people never dare to face. Subscribe to the channel and continue this journey of self-discovery with us. Because the more you understand yourself, the less the world controls you.